What's up guys, my name's Will, I'm a foiling college student, and today we're going to talk about everything that I think you need to know before you buy your first hydrofoil setup. So we're going to talk about two main categories today. The first one is whether or not you're foiling in the ocean, paddling into it on waves, on your stomach, on a sup board, stuff like that. Second one is whether or not you're on a lake being towed behind boats and you want to get in hydrofoiling. So first category, you're in the ocean. You want to learn how to prone foil, you want to paddle on your stomach, or you want to learn how to sup foil. This is going to kind of change what foil you're going to get. And so, first of all, bigger is better when you are learning, okay? So a bigger board with more liters, with more volume, allows you to be more buoyant on the water. It's easier to paddle, it's easier to stand on, it's easier to pop up on. And so what I would suggest is in the beginning, go bigger. And in the beginning, don't be afraid to do the used market, okay? Hydrofoiling has just exploded with how many brands there are and how good their products are recently. So go the used market, find a foil, find a brand like Lift, Armstrong, go to a brand like Axis or Unifoil or Slingshot. Some of those brands that are well known that create great products. Get a used setup. Maybe it's a little beat up. It doesn't matter, okay? We're just learning in this time. So I would suggest get a bigger board. You can go the Freedom Foil board like I do. You can go to Lift. Lift makes great quality boards. Find a board. I would recommend if you are on your stomach and you're trying to prone foil, I recommend go above 5 feet. This board's 4 feet 2 inches. For someone learning, it is just crazy small. My friend Pierce, who you'll see in video, he's learning too. I have him on a board, it's like 5 feet 6 inches. It's great. He can just paddle it super easily. It's buoyant, he can stand up on it. And in the beginning, you don't care how much swing weight you have because you're just trying to survive out there. So go a bigger board, don't be afraid to do that. This I would consider a small board. This is 4 feet 2 inches. So when you're looking at this, you're like, man, that's a tiny board. It kind of disappears under you, which when you grow in your ability is really great because there's less swing weight, there's less like underneath you. But in the beginning, I would go bigger, go above 5 feet, go 5 feet 6 inches. Again, this is for prone if you're paddling on your stomach. Go even a 6 foot board. Get leaders underneath you. Go take a winging board that's meant for like winging and put that on a foil and take that out in the water because you'll have an insane amount of liters. Maybe you can paddle on your knees. It will just help a ton. For the stand-up paddle, the sup foilers, I would say bigger is also better. And there's great material out there. There's great products. Go to any of those websites, Slingshot, Axis, Unifoil, any of these foils, Lift. Go in there, read about it, okay? They'll say, this board is not for beginners, this is for advanced riders. Go the beginner route and then take what you learn from those websites, take it to the used market and find boards that have been used or a little beat up and get that, and then you can get on the water as soon as possible. Transitioning on to the mast. Mast is super important, okay? This is basically, if your mast is too wobbly, it's not built right, this can be super detrimental to your foiling in the long end. But in the beginning, just get a mast. I would recommend shorter while you're learning is better. Why? Because you have less room to come off the water. So in the beginning, if you're trying to get on foil and you come up and you have 32 inches to come up on your foil, that's gonna be terrifying, it's gonna be scary, it's gonna allow for a lot of falling in weird ways, which is normal and we'll get there. But in the beginning, I would recommend a shorter mast, 28 inch mast, shorter than that even sometimes. And that just helps you learn how to foil without going too high, and it keeps you close to the water and keeps you nice and safe. Again, top brands there, it's gonna be Lift, it's gonna be Armstrong, it's gonna be Axis, it's gonna be Slingshot, it's gonna be Unifoil. Brands like that are known to make quality products. Now we go on to the wing, and arguably besides the board, this can be the most important part because the wing determines how your foil feels. So eventually your board's off the water, that's not touching the water anymore. Eventually your mast is basically just little portions of it are touching the water, and it can be super important, but your wing determines how your foil feels. It determines whether your foil surfs like a short board or a long board. So I would recommend in the beginning, people are loving the high aspect route because it's super fast, it's super twitchy, it allows you to carve. I would recommend do something mid-aspect, low aspect. I would recommend something in the middle, a mid-aspect. Well, aspect is just the aspect ratio. So this foil has a super wide aspect ratio. And so it allows, it's like a glider. It wants to glide, it wants to carve really sharp. This one, I would recommend go a mid-aspect foil. So it's somewhere in between of a glider and like a fighter jet. And this allows just for a more stable ride. In the beginning, we want it to be as stable as possible. The same thing with you're going with your rear wing. if you get a mid-aspect foil, it's going to be stable. It's going to feel locked in when you're on foil, and this in the beginning will allow for a very smooth, a very controlled ride. That is what I would recommend for the ocean. We got a flock of ducks, Jason. Second route, you're on a lake. You want to learn how to foil on a lake. You don't know what to buy. You don't know what setup. You're wanting to learn behind a boat. You don't know what setup to buy. Again, I would say bigger is better in the beginning when it comes to the board. Okay, so this board behind a lake or behind a boat would actually be super great because you're starting with a rope. You don't have to paddle and pop up. It's got a lot of leaders. It's super buoyant, stuff like that. 4-foot route, anything shorter than that, anything thinner than this, I feel like in the beginning is gonna be super hard. So don't be afraid to go a little bit bigger route, but also with time, you can learn pretty much anything. So this is just my recommendation to you to make your learning process as simple and as easy as possible. And then again, I would say pretty much similar things. I'd say go shorter on the mast. I know some companies like Slingshot literally have different masts that you can get. It's a kit, and so you can start on a small mast, and some even like they can expand to be a taller mast and a shorter mast. So they recommend in the beginning start on a short mast and move your way up to these taller masts because it can be really daunting in the beginning. Then moving from mast, again, same thing with the wing. I would recommend a medium aspect wing, something that's very controlled, very locked in. Same thing with that rear tail. Try to get a setup that's very user-friendly in the beginning. It doesn't need to be the most high-end setup that Kai Lenny's out there riding or John Florence is riding. Get something that's best for you and what your needs. And again, I would just say go to the website, scroll on their wings, scroll on their mast, scroll on their boards, and they will tell you what is a beginner board and what's a more advanced board. And then take that to the used market and find a board that fits you, your budget, your style, and let's get you out there. So whether or not you're learning how to foil in the ocean or on a lake, I would recommend most crucial, if you've never foiled before, book an efoil lesson. Go find an affiliate from Lift near you, book an efoil lesson. What this does is it teaches you how to foil. It teaches you what it feels like. It teaches you how to adjust your weight, how to control, how to go left to right, how to be on a foil. Because in the beginning, this can feel like balancing on a beach ball, and it can be super scary your first time. So an efoil lesson is a great way to learn at a very productive rate, and then you can take what you learn and take it out, whether to your lake or to the ocean. Most foil lessons, no, the instructor is going to provide. Especially if you do an efoil lesson, the instructor is going to provide the efoil. They're going to provide the gear. They're going to know what wing to put you on that's going to feel the most sturdy and safe for you. They're going to know what mast size to put you on, what size board to put you on. They're going to know all of that. So most lessons, when you come to a foil lesson, unless the instructor says otherwise, they're going to have everything you need to make it a successful, productive, and fast lesson that's going to get you out on the water and get you stoked about this awesome sport. Price point. Everyone wants to know how much is it going to cost. So if you go to Lift and you find one of their affiliates and you do a lesson, from my experience, a 2-hour lesson for beginners about $350. Sometimes the advanced lessons, if you have experience, can be about $250. But most affiliates are flexible. Talk to them, be like, hey, I want to do 3 lessons. Is there any way to cut me a deal on that? Or after this lesson, maybe I just want to go ride with you. Can we, like, I don't really want tips, like just I'll ride with you. I want to get hours on the efoil. Can we do a cut cost for that? I've done that in the past on our efoils, and it's a great way to learn. So those are the price, $350 normally for a beginner lesson. Obviously you go to somewhere like Hawaii, their prices might be higher just because they can, but $350 and then $250 for more advanced riders, normally what we see out there. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, Will, that's my name, foiling college student, and I'm trying to make foiling more accessible to you guys because I think it has the potential to completely take over the California coast, every coast out there, anywhere there's water, I think we're gonna see foilers. So the quicker that you can get into it and start learning, I think the better. So thank you guys for watching. Peace and blessings. Have a great day. See you soon.